thank everybody for their support, a wonderful introduction. And the Master of Ceremonies here, he's destined to preach before this is over with. And before I get started, I wanted to ask if any of our students, staff, and just soldiers of Life Skills 411 that are here, could you stand? Any of you associated with Life Skills 411? Appreciate all the support you all coming out here today. Give a round of applause. I want to thank you all for having us here. I believe Pat Durham for coordinating this event. I believe I met her last year at the baccalaureate service at the Phillips Temple CME Church there in Berkeley. I want to thank all the city council members, surrounding high schools, principals and teachers, students, city council members, community leaders, dignitaries, and friends for coming here today. I would like to start first by saying a little bit about myself. I have accomplished a lot of things, but I can tell you I try to remain humble because I know who I am and where I'm from. I was born in Oakland. I was raised in Central and North Richmond. Richmond was the area where my mom got on drugs, and I lost the father in my life, and I had to learn how to grow up in the cities and streets here of Richmond. I've lived on Lincoln, Nevin, Roosevelt. I've lived in the Iron Triangle, and I can tell you that first I'm just thankful to God to be alive. I know what it's like to not have a father there, or to have a mother that you love dearly that has went the wrong way or become dependent on chemicals. I've been to homes and shelters for battered women, and I've moved to over 6 to 7 elementary schools as a child. And so I can tell you my beginnings are very humble, and so this is why I don't live my life to look at what I've accomplished, but to just be thankful that I was able to do anything with my life. I would like to remind each of you that it is important to first know how you start, and then to begin to see the reality of that and decide what you want to become. And I am an individual that's a firm believer that it doesn't matter how you started if you can finish strong. So this is what I began to learn and find out about. Found out if I could change my mindset, change the way I thought. If I could start getting different types of ideas going through my mind, I could get a different outcome by having a different behavior. And I would like to encourage all of the parents and the students that are here that we have success in our reach, but it all is based on what we choose to do with our life. I'm also encouraged to see so much talent. Can we have a round of applause for all the talent that we've seen here today? All the talent that we've seen, the singing, the dancing, all of that, the things that we've seen our youth doing, but I believe our youth can do whatever they want to do. And I know that as we stand here on Monday, the birthday of Dr. King, on the anniversary we celebrate what Dr. King did, I'm happy to tell you that Dr. King is more than just a black man. Dr. King was an educated man. And I would like to let all the youth here know, as well as parents, we honor Dr. King not just because he was black, but because he was a historian, because he was a master of language. He was an individual that understood how to use the laws and the system of his time to get done what he wanted to get done. And this is something we all have to learn to do in our own lives, how to use what's around you to get done what you want to get done. Dr. King was more than an I have a dream speech. He was more than just an individual who marched. He got his degree at 16 or so years old, had his master's by 19 or 20, and he confounded audiences with his eloquence because he knew what he wanted to do. And this is what we celebrate today. And isn't it ironic that here we are, just about 45 years later, and we celebrate finally that America has been able to say we're welcome to having our first celebrate his success. We celebrate what he was able to do. And we're glad that as a country, we've matured to a point where anybody can be president. There's an environment for success that's been made no matter what your color may look like. But I would like to talk to you about more than just Tuesday. I want to talk to you about Wednesday, because the fact still remains that even after Barack Obama is president, you still have to be the president of your life. All the young people here, the parents here, if you still don't give your all, Barack Obama being the president won't change that. If you still don't believe in doing your best, Barack Obama being president won't change that. But use the power of Dr. King and Barack Obama to decide, I'm going to put something in me to be the best that I can be. Now, how many of you here, students and parents alike, believe that there's people in here that can do or become whatever they want to become? All round of applause. So we have to do more than just holler change or holler about a dream. You have to be the president of waking up in the morning. You got to be the president of doing your homework. You got to be the president of hanging around the right people. You got to be the president of making sure you get away from people who are bringing your life down and get around people who can bring your life up. I'm telling you today, I am here because I made a decision to be around the right people. I made a decision to stop letting others dictate what was cool and make the decision that I want to begin to make cool be what is successful for me. And this is what we have to think about. This is why we have to get in our mind that there is something more than just celebrating a great celebration of this next day. We have to start thinking about how we can take that home with us and do something with our lives. I would like to tell you that a little latchkey kid from Richmond. Next thing I know, I got my degree. I left the 1.0s and 2.0s and got to the 3-point this and the 4-point that. I went to college, got my degree. Next thing you know, I was hired by Toyota. I did a presentation. Akio Toyota was there, the grandson of Toyota's founder. He said, who's the young guy with all the inspiration? Next thing I know, I was on a plane to Japan with a passport. Little latchkey kid from Richmond sitting on a plane, 16 hours to Japan. I went to Japan, and when I got to the hotel room, I fell to my knees. Forgive me for getting religious, but I had to thank the God of heaven for giving me the opportunity to be where I was. When I got there and I accelerated, was on a fast path in Toyota. Next thing I know, I had left, started my own businesses. They exceeded, they began to grow. I managed over 150 people in over 3 to 4 different states, and I can tell you that none of that meant more to me than starting Life Skills 411 and telling young people that they can be successful if they try. Nothing, all of that means nothing if I don't inspire some young people in here that you can be whatever you want to be if you try. I'm just like you. I walk the streets just like you. I have the losses that you've had. And I can tell you today, there's some young ladies in here that I can believe you can be whatever they want to be. You don't have to look for your self-esteem or your self-worth just based on a man or based on an opportunity. I believe there's some young queens in here that can be whatever they want to be. I believe there's some young men in here that can be a king too. Your last name might not be King or Barack, but you can be a king, you can be a president if you make a decision to be a man, not a boy. Learn to think like a man. A man can solve his problems with his intellect. A man can solve his problems by being dedicated. A man can solve his problems by learning how to resolve situations with his mind. This is what we're excited about today. I would like to leave you with this. We have to always strive for excellence. Can you all say, just get by? One more time, just get by. Just get by. This is what I don't want you to do. Young people as well as parents, when I talk about life skills, I don't just talk about the kids. Some of you parents out there need life skills too. Because your parents weren't there. Because you came through it hard. There was no road book or no manual that you could turn to of how to be a parent. Did you know if we all dedicate ourselves, refuse to just get by, we can live what Dr. King said. If it falls your lot to be a street sweeper, go out and sweep streets like Beethoven composed music, like Shakespeare wrote poetry. Sweep streets so well that when you die, the living, the dead your best at whatever you are. So if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But make sure that you're successful. I guarantee you, success is in you. As I often say, you are a CEO, just like me, because you run the business of you. May God bless you, and I hope to be successful.